So I don't listen to Candace's show, but I am 100% convinced that Charlie was killed by Tyler Robinson.
Candace has turned into our Jussie Smollett, only with yarmulkes instead of MAGA hats. I mean, their behavior is what you'd expect from a pathological narcissist who got her start, in Candace's case, as an influencer by threatening to dox children. They're not the problem because they can't be better. But Megyn can, and yet is choosing not to. And that is not only the problem with Megyn, but it is the problem with the right in general. But it's very different in influencer spaces. Everyone here is vying for attention. And a lot of people don't care how they get it, as long as they get it. Do you want to demand answers to questions that are literally so stupid no one would usually ask them? Well, why not? You'll stand out just for asking them. Want to just outright lie to boost engagement? I mean, Churchill said a lie gets halfway around the world before the truth can get its pants on, and that was before the internet. How do I know that she knows that they're clearly lying? This is simple.
Good morning. Grace and peace, everybody. We got a good one. I'm gonna get out here. We got to talk about why influencers or big names on the right are just skittish to call out Candace Owens. It makes no sense. I'll probably even pull in the video of Brandon Tatum. I mean, just going off about somebody accusing Mikey McCoy. And I'm like, my dude, who is it that's doing this? Who is accusing Mikey McCoy? Brandon, who's doing it? The woman that you refuse to call out. And I've already talked about this once. I've said this before. I'll just keep drumming this point. You don't love somebody if you don't tell them the truth. You don't care about them. You can say that you care about somebody, but if you're not, the execution of your love or your care is when I tell you that you're wrong. And I run the risk of our friendship being fractured. I run the risk of you not being cool with me. Okay? Story time. When I was coaching, there was another coach there, good brother, good guy, but he was ex-military. And ex-military guys, they got some spicy language. And I liked hanging around Jake. And slowly but surely, my language got, shall we say, a little bit more spicy. I would be dropping F-bombs and using profanity, and it just became common parlance. So one day I was on the phone with my mentor, good friend of mine, not in that space at all, Christian brother, and I was just using profanity. I was at the gym. F that, mother, this, and all the kind of craziness. And he said, hey, wait. We were talking about something. He said, wait, stop, Jason. Why are you talking like that? Why are you using words like that when you know that doesn't honor God? And I thought about it. I was like, I really don't know how I picked this up. You know what? I appreciate it, man. And that was some time ago. And I always remember and I always think about, at any point, Larry could have said, hey, if I call out Jason and tell him that he out here cussing, looking like a fool, that I'm going to ruin our relationship, or Jason won't be my friend, or whatever like that. No, but he cared about me enough to just tell me the truth. My dude, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And we could put this in any other situation. Do you care for your friend who's married and y'all are out having a good time at the mall and they're flirting with members of the opposite sex? Do you care if you call him or her out and say, yo, what are you doing? Like, no, like what do you care about that person? And I want to bring this in before we jump way far into the mix, because a lot of people bring this up and I do think it has some relevance, and I want to just talk about it real quick. And it is a passage of scripture that people bring up, and I think they use it out of order. I don't think they think about it, but I'm going to give you a little bit of room today. And I'm going to bring it in. All right. Here it comes real quick. And I'm going to pull this in. I just want to show you this very quickly. And most of you all know this as, go to your brother if they're in sin, right? And I'll tell you this right now. In the context that this scripture is in, is actually what goes on in church. And it's called church discipline. Okay. Where I'm in church, and for example, let me use the example of Larry, my mentor. If Larry and I were in the same church together, he would have been, and I said, man, forget you, man. I'm going to keep cussing. I'm going to keep doing whatever. Then he would have walked through these steps. But let me just show you something real quick. If your brother sins against you and go to him with his fault between you and him alone, if he listens, you have gained your brother. Please understand, that is the very first step of church discipline. Larry did that by coming to me and saying, bro, why are you cussing like that? What is going on with your vocabulary? What is wrong with you? And you know what? I said, you're right, Larry, I was wrong. My bad. And I stopped. And I even went as far to talk to Jake about it and told him, because he professed to be a Christian as well. And I said, hey, man, your language is not on point, my guy. And that was it. So there was no need to go any further. But if you go further, this is where the rest of it comes in, where if he doesn't listen to him, then you go bring 2 or 3 others. And when every charge let it be established by 2 or 3 witnesses, if he refuses them, then bring him to the church. So then it would have gone a little bit further. But my point, and all I want to point out, is the very first step of any kind of discipline is me just going to you saying, hey, what you're doing is wrong. What you're doing is wrong. That doesn't mean that I don't care about you. That doesn't mean that I'm not your friend or whatever like that. But what I'm saying is that I'm drawing a line in the sand and something has to stop. Whether it's the profanity, the flirting with members of the opposite sex, stealing, lying, whatever it is that the sin is, it has to stop. And I'm not going to participate in it. That's the part. Because you see now next, you bring 2 or 3 witnesses. Now other people know that I'm called, that again, let's say I did not repent. Larry would maybe go get my brother Craig or Eric or Roy or one of them. And they come to me and say, bro, why are you cussing like this? Why are you acting like this? Oh man, I'm just like doing whatever I'm doing. I'm just doing the thing that I'm doing when I'm doing it. Well, now, but they're not going to participate in my behavior. And they're also not affirming my behavior. They're not saying, oh, it's okay, man. You can go ahead and keep cussing. Oh, it's all good, bro. Don't worry about it. Jesus understands your heart. It's all good. No, they are drawing a line in the sand saying they too are not going to follow me. And if I keep going in that direction, I'm going to be by myself. And I bring that up. And the point of pointing this out is the right. We who are conservative, Republicans, GOP, MAGA, fill in the blank, whatever name you need, we have to call out people on our team and tell them they've gone too far. Yeah, the commentary that you're giving about this other nation state, yeah, it's gone too far. The stuff you're saying, you do know you're lying, right? You do know that you're just tacitly lying, correct? Okay, at some point we have to say, yeah, we're not going to roll with that. That's not where we're going. And I think Megyn Kelly is coming to that place where, again, you can still be friends with Candace, I guess, if that's where you want to roll. And I'm not saying that these are bona fide church discipline, get separated from the church type of commentary. However, I do think that Megyn and Brandon Tatum, these fence sitter type of people, Matt Walsh, Brett Cooper, eventually they're going to get drug into a completely unrecognizable place, or they're going to have to say, this is where we stop. Yeah, you've gone too far. I'm going to have to call you out and say, you're wrong. And I do think that the lack of calling people out like Candace is what emboldens her. And again, the Candies are crazy. So I understand. You don't want all that smoke from the Candies because they're crazy. The 7,000 shekel crowd and this, that, and the other. And all. I mean, they jump in the chat and they're wild. So I totally understand that. But that doesn't mean that you don't tell somebody the truth if you care about them. If you don't care about them, then you don't tell them the truth. If you don't care about them, you let them keep going around here looking crazy. But if you say that you care about them and they're your friend or they're your brother, notice that again in the passage, it says, if your brother, he's talking about someone who's a member of the church community. So this is somebody that you have an affiliation with because they were called out by Christ. So therefore, my love for you is the fact that Christ has saved you. So it goes way beyond just like, oh yeah, you went to the same college I did. Oh yeah, you like the same drink at Starbucks as me. No, this is a deeper relationship that's forged in Christ. So if I'm looking at that person and they're doing wrong, I got to tell them. And so here, the same thing applies. I believe Brandon Tatum, Megyn Kelly will pull this in as well. And there's some others. They're dancing this line, and Candace is going further and further, and they're trying to stay, for lack of a better term, neutral. And I don't think that's going to work. Let's bring it in. Let's go.
Talk about the Candace Owens.
Hold on. Why is this not doing this right, Jason? Y'all pray for editor Jason. He needs some coffee this morning. Now let's try it again.
Of it all, okay? I love her, and I really do feel like there's potentially truth to what she's saying. What do you think? Is there something nefarious going on?
Are you talking about Charlie's murder? So I don't listen to Candace's show, but I am 100% convinced that Charlie was killed by Tyler Robinson, a crazed leftist who murdered him because he didn't like Charlie's messaging on the trans issue. That is my firm belief after having talked to the people at Turning Point, the FBI, the security team that was on the ground, and many others. And I've come to that with a good faith basis, and I have nothing that would shake me from it. I don't begrudge anybody asking questions, and I understand the controversy around where she's gone with it, but I think it's really kind of a matter of your preference for your broadcaster. And, Candace is many, many people's cup of tea, and she's not other people's, and I'm the same. And I haven't responded well to people demanding that I try to police her speech because...
Okay, I got to stop. So shout out, first of all, editor Jason got his coffee. Y'all pray for my daughter. My daughter got me decaffeinated coffee, and y'all pray for that girl. She got it for me, though. Shout out to my baby. I'm going to start this over again because I think there's a lot of problems, and we haven't gotten 2 minutes into this. There's a lot of problems with this. And I am going to stop a little bit, and I am going to call this out. I am not saying that Megyn Kelly has to dunk on Candace and whatnot like that, but the fence sitting is going to be problematic. The fence sitting is just the problem. That's it. Candace has gotten this far emboldened because of the fence sitting. Because of it. What is the adage? Let the camel's nose into the tent, I think it is. Give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Any of those adages that say, hey, if you give them a little bit of room, they'll just keep taking more, right? And this is exactly, in my opinion, where Megyn Kelly is falling on her face. But let's bring this back in.
Let's talk about the Candace Owens of it all, okay? I love her, and I really do feel like there's potentially truth to what she's saying. What do you think? Is there something nefarious going on?
Are you talking?
I don't know why that woman is talking like that. I didn't know if they had slowed it down. Is there something? She just sounds really special. So the woman is laying out the case that, hey, I love Candace, which I think is very odd because most of the issues that we have about the Charlie Kirk, questions we have about Charlie Kirk's assassination come from Candace, almost straight from her desk, which is crazy work. But listen to where Megyn goes, and I am going to be stopping.
About Charlie's murder? So I don't listen to Candace's show.
That's the first problem. That's the first problem. I cannot speak intelligently on this because I don't watch Candace's show. End of story. Finish. Done. That's it. Because I don't watch Megyn's show. So I cannot and I will not speak intelligently on Megyn's show. I don't watch Brandon's show. Okay. There's a ton of content creators I don't watch. Maybe I can watch 2 or 3 episodes and get a flavor for it, or maybe speak on a specific issue. But Megyn, come on. If you don't watch it, then what are you about to say? Because what she's about to say in a second contradicts, literally she has 2 contradicting thoughts in the same sentence. I don't know how you do that.
But I am 100% convinced that Charlie was killed by Tyler Robinson, a crazed leftist who murdered him because he didn't like Charlie's messaging on the trans issue.
Stop. She believes Tyler Robinson did the deed. So she believes the overall narrative, and people like to say the official narrative, right? But Candace, let her finish, Jason.
That is my firm belief after having talked to the people at Turning Point, the FBI, the security team that was on the ground, and many others. And I've come to that with a good faith basis, and I have nothing that would shake me from it. I don't begrudge anybody asking questions.
Okay, wait. So she not only said, this is what I believe, this is why I believe it. Please, she's about to give I don't know if this is a false dichotomy. Candace is not just asking questions. That's the thing. She has framed this and people are like, oh, well, are you against question asking? Oh, you're against the question. No, she's not asking questions. She is making definitive statements. You will never see a lawyer in court do what Candace is doing, because the opposing counsel will jump out of their skin to yell objection, leading the witness, leading questions. That's exactly, these are not questions that are not trying to get somewhere, to a specific place, not to the truth. But finish up.
Shake me from it. I don't begrudge anybody asking questions, and I understand the controversy around where she's gone with it. But I think it's really kind of a matter of your preference for your broadcaster. And, Candace is many, many people's cup of tea, and she's not other people's, and I'm the same. And I haven't responded well to people demanding that I
notice this. Instead of putting the discussion on Candace, and I have some friends that do this all the time, and I really hate when they do this. She shifted the conversation to about herself. Nobody's talking about you, Megyn, in that regard. They want to know we do want to know your thoughts about Candace and how Candace is actually opposite of what you just said happened. What Candace is teaching and promoting is opposite of what you just said. Nobody can shake you from. How do you do that? And if you don't know it, then maybe you should not say all things are sunshine and rainbows with Candace.
I try to police her speech because that's a leftist thing. It's not a right thing. So if she's not for you, that's fine. But if she is, that's fine too. And what she says about this particular matter, look, I just give her a lot of grace because I know she's suffering.
That is not a, let me give you an example. If you had a friend who had something tragic happen in their lives, and their way of coping with it was to throw back 2 or 3 fifths of Jack Daniels every night and drive their kids to school the next day, drunk as a skunk. Are you giving, and that's how they deal with the tragedy. God forbid they lost their loved one and they are really going through, but their way to deal with it is they get drunk every night. And they go and drive their kids to school every day, swerving and sliding. Now, would you say, oh, I'm just being gracious to them because they're grieving? They're truly grieving. They lost the love of their lives, but they are drunk driving their kids to school. Would you say, oh, no, it's okay. It's all right. They're grieving. Heck no, you wouldn't. You would take them keys. You would be calling the police. You'd be flattening their tires, take their car. You would do something. You would impede them from you would come take the kids, but you would not allow that person to get in that car and drive those kids to school. Cause you just know, there's no way they're going to get there safely every day. One day something's going to go bad. And you know it. So why would you say, oh, well, because she's grieving, whatever she's doing is okay? That doesn't work, Megyn. Come on. No, because you're in pain. The bad thing is this could go on for 8 days. We could make up scenario after scenario. Oh, well, because your dad beat you upside your head when you were a little kid, then that's why you can do this thing, because you're grieving about it. Because the taxes are too much, you burn down the city. You're grieving about it. This doesn't work. It doesn't. And this is what I'm saying. We have to be willing to say, this doesn't work. No, man, you're out of pocket. You're throwing back Jack Daniels. You're driving kids to school. It doesn't work. You can't do that. Now, maybe I will impede you by taking your keys. I'll take your kids to school. I'm going to take your car from you. And you just stay at the house and deal with your problems until further notice. Now, you need to deal with them problems because getting sloppy drunk is not a way to deal with it either. But let's put that aside. Or maybe I need to call the officials. Maybe I need to call the police. Remember that church discipline example I gave? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So, but you don't just let them do bad and say, oh, we're going to let you go because you're grieving.
I know she really loved him. And I think this has been very hard on people who actually knew Charlie and really loved him.
Because just a couple of weeks.
How do you not love the wife, though? Let me back that up. I'm sorry. But what about the wife? What about the things that Candace is doing that are destroying the wife? TPUSA, the children, for crying out loud. Why are you allowing her to be selfish in 4K? And you say, oh, that's okay, because she's grieving. She's grieving. She really loved Charlie. But she don't really love Erica, I guess. She don't really love the seed of Charlie. She don't really love the legacy of Charlie. I don't think she even love his doggone reputation at this point. Because I've said it, and y'all can clip it. I'm expecting Candace Owens to say that they had extramarital relationships. Put it down. Put it down on a piece of paper. Put it down on a piece of paper. I believe it's going to happen. It's going to happen sooner than later. She's going to come up there with that. Because, I mean, she boiling bunnies already. She might as well go ahead and just, come on, fess up. Let's continue.
Very hard on people who actually knew Charlie and really loved him.
Because just a couple of weeks ago,
Hey, I know that
Megyn
guy.
Kelly was asked about these same friends, and this was her response.
Now,
Hey, that's not
as
the
for
same
my
shirt.
decision to platform Tucker, too bad, bad. I love him. We're friends. I don't think he's an anti-Semite at all, but I don't really care. I think Tucker's a very important, valuable voice in the national conversation. I'm thrilled.
Candace, I think Candace is
So I
apart from
don't
Tucker.
know
Yeah.
her. I don't really know her that well. Although I will tell you, we recently had a very nice exchange before all.
Okay, if somebody can get me, I want to watch this interview in real time because there's something that happens on here that you might miss. Both of the hosts, they say some things about Candace that gets muddled up. And I've been listening and I cannot figure out what they're saying. And one of them says like Candace is promoting stories or conspiracies. They're saying things. I want to hear this. So if anybody can, dearwokec@gmail.com.
This. And I was just reminded in my own head that Candace is a young mom of like 3 young kids. She's under a lot of pressure. She's got a big show. She's been under attack since she came.
There goes, like he said, believes in drama. Like I want to hear more. I want to hear what they were saying because they're right there with me.
Onto the public airwaves. She's been under attack constantly. And it's my prerogative if I say to myself, that is not someone I wish to attack. I do not feel that way. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And I felt this way. And now that people have made my attacking her the stakes of my relationship with whatever person is saying this, I'm going to have to say goodbye to that person. I won't do it. Now it's like a point of pride.
Yeah.
It's literally the same thing as the BLM folks trying to make you raise your fist. The answer is no.
We're actually
Okay, I got to stop right there. I like Megyn. I like her, the way that she interviews people. I think she's an excellent content creator. She gave away something in that little monologue. And again, I want to watch the whole video clip. She said it's a point of pride. And I'm going to go back. Ma'am, pride is what's causing Candace to crash out like this. Pride is not something that you want to build your whole foundation on. And it is not, real quick, shout out to my sister, and I'm going to bring her in real quick. Shout out to Q, my sister from another mister. And we joke all the time about our colleges and alma maters, all the time. We pick at each other. We've said some pretty harsh things about each other's alma maters. I never thought that she was attacking me. Well, one, I know that she's doing it out of fun. We just like picking at each other. But also, even when we're correcting each other and saying some of the stuff that our schools do wrong, I don't feel like she's attacking me. And I would never have said, oh, she's attacking Morehouse because she said that. No. We just disagree. Or she might have said something like, yo, yeah, we do need to fix that. And I've actually said it like, yeah, this is not a good look for dear old Morehouse. I would never have said that she was attacking me. And that kind of language, I think, is kind of odd that Megyn, she calls out BLM, she calls out the left, but she uses words and terminologies that they use. Ma'am, calling somebody out is not attacking them. It's actually probably the best form of showing that you have love and affection toward that person is me saying, hey, Q, you went to the wrong college. Q, you just went to the wrong school, but we love you though. We do love you. And see, that's how it works. And she knows I love her because I'm telling her the truth that she went to the wrong school. Let's go.
Repeating almost all the same mistakes of the left in the past 10 years. And a lot of it comes down to the same terrible combination, which is political opportunism being used as justification for moral cowardice.
Can we? I don't even know who this girl is, but she might become my new thing, my new favorite. Moral opportunities. Wait, let her say it again.
Down to the same terrible combination, which is political opportunism being used as justification for moral cowardice.
Political opportunism being justification for moral cowardice. Boy, come on, put that on a shirt. Put that on a shirt right there, because that's what we're looking at. Brandon, Megyn, Matt Walsh, anybody on the right that's not willing to call out Candace and say, you have gone too far. You're doing the most. If you're not willing to call her out, then that's what you're doing. You have moral cowardice.
And for the same reason the left lost, we will too, which is we're too scared to call out our craziest voices. Come
on. Can't we say that again? Give her the air horn. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's how the left got here. That's how the left is being led by children. That's how the left got to the insanity that they're in right now. Where is my sound effect? That's how they got there. We got to let that go. Let's go.
By the way, to be clear, any winning coalition is going to have crazy voices because crazy supporters are the side effect of a successful mass movement. And then they even make good volunteers for campaigns as long as you don't actually let them talk to voters. But where they become a problem is when they start dictating your message. And that's what's happening here. And that's what brings me to the problem with the right personified right now, which is Megyn Kelly. And you might be surprised to hear me say that. I could already hear people, really? Megyn, not Tucker, not Candace, but Megyn? Here's the thing. I don't expect any better of Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens. I mean, Tucker, he's become the right's version of Robin DiAngelo. And Candace has turned into our Jussie Smollett, only with yarmulkes instead of MAGA hats. I mean, this...
Oh, wow. I didn't catch that. I'm going to have to back that up. Y'all know how I feel about Robin DiAngelo. Y'all know how I feel about Robin. My goodness, in the morning.
I don't expect any better of Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens. I mean, Tucker, he's become the right's version of Robin DiAngelo. And Candace has turned into our Jussie Smollett, only with yarmulkes instead of MAGA hats.
That is hilarious. That thing right there is out of control. That thing. Let me real quick. I saw a comment right here. I just want to bring this in. I'm going to say this right here. If Brandon Tatum, now I don't know. I saw the video clip. I saw the video. I have not clicked on it yet. Honeybear 55. I'm going to say this. If Brandon Tatum does not call Candace's actual name, her government name, if he don't say Candace, Amber, Owens Farmer, or whatever it is, then I ain't got nothing for him. He has to call her out by name. Not Candace and Tucker, not people on the far right, not isolated fringe, whatever. He has to say her name in 4K. If he says her name in 4K, then you know what? Shout out to him. He is doing the right thing. He's demonstrating the love that he claims that he has for Candace. If he doesn't call Candace's name in 4K, then he's not, in my opinion, he's still a moral coward. Okay? So again, I haven't watched the video. If he does, let me know in the chat. If he hasn't, if he don't call her out by name, then again, he's just a coward. In my opinion. All right, let's go.
Their behavior is what you'd expect from a pathological narcissist who got her start, in Candace's case, as an influencer by threatening to dox children. They're not the problem because they can't be better. But Megyn can, and yet is choosing not to. And that is not only the problem with Megyn, but it is the problem with the right in general. And if you don't know me and you're watching this, it gives me no pleasure to say this. I have lost sleep over this. Megyn Kelly used to be my role model, and I wish she still were. I want her to be. But right now, the inescapable fact is that Megyn is leading the movement off a cliff because she's outright telling people not to think critically. At a recent Turning Point event, when she went to Virginia Tech the week following Charlie's death, which I applaud her for, of course, Megyn urged people listening to her to simply pick one or two non-mainstream voices to listen that offer bad news for their own side when she was asked who you can trust in media. And she didn't suggest a way to assess whether that bad news was even true. No. She said to outsource your thinking to a couple of occasionally contrarian influencers and trust them without a regular service check. So where to start with all of this? First, while admissions against interest are sometimes a sign of honesty, they're not always. There is a big difference between bad news being your party's going to lose the midterms and your party is covering up Charlie Kirk being murdered by his own wife. Both are bad news, but only one is credible. And the bigger problem is that Megyn tells the audience to trust people offering bad news when clearly one is meant to help you live in reality and the other is meant to get you hooked on political mass psychosis. And I say this as an influencer myself. Influencers are not infallible. Far from it. The incentives for us, I would argue, are worse than for mainstream media. Because at least in mainstream media, your audience is guaranteed to some extent, your bills are paid to some extent, you have some reason to care about what's real rather than just what's viral. But it's very different in influencer spaces. Everyone here is vying for attention. And a lot of people don't care how they get it, as long as they get it. Do you want to demand answers to questions that are literally so stupid no one would usually ask them? Well, why not? You'll stand out just for asking them. Want to just outright lie to boost engagement? I mean...
Real quick, shout out to Carrie. Thank you so much, man, for the $5 super to start the morning off. I feel like these guys value Candace's feelings, full stop. There's no argument there. And what she thinks, absolutely true, over Charlie's wife's feels and thinks. Let's also add Charlie's children, Charlie's parents, and TPUSA as a whole. Like Candace, I mean, they've pedestalized Candace to the point, I'm sorry, they're dang near worshiping her. Ooh, this, you know what Candace reminds me of? Of the dad that has really bad anger issues and everybody kowtows around. When they hear him pull in the garage, everybody starts scrambling. When they hear his car pull into the garage and the door shut, everybody's doing something to please dad, to make sure that this mean, angry dad who doesn't have good emotional controls, that they can control, that they can stay on his good side and not on his bad side, the business end of his hand or his belt. Like, my dude, like, your dad's got some issues, but nobody wants to say that. They just all do the things. And this is exactly it. Thank you for the $5 super. You were right on the money.
Churchill said a lie gets halfway around the world before the truth can get its pants on. And that was before the internet. Also now, if you get caught in a lie, you could just pretend you never said it. No one has the attention span to care or fact check you either way. And by the way, this is the reason why I never tell my audience to only listen to me. I always tell everybody to take information in, decide what to think about it on your own. The influence I want to have is the kind where my audience does not need me to constantly spoon feed them what to think because I've already helped them on how to think. But that seems to be, unfortunately, the opposite of Megyn's approach now. And part of this does track with the right's tendency to be seduced by a large follower count and name recognition, regardless of how they were earned.
And again, this is what I mean. You don't draw that line, that moral line, say we're not going to go any further. Well, now they haven't drawn the line. They allow Candace to drag them into basically a whole new world that they don't want to be in. Shout out for sure.
Just to be clear, you don't have to respect anyone just because they have more followers than you or because they have a lot of followers at all. You don't have to take them seriously. Let's take an example, okay? Kim Kardashian has 74 million followers on X. The Pope has under 19 million. Megyn is a practicing Catholic. Which of them should she take more seriously on matters of religion? I mean, it's very obvious here, and I know I'm giving an extreme example, and I'm not saying Megyn told you to follow Kim K over the Pope, but that's where she left the logic when she gave that statement. And it brings me to my second point, which is Megyn knows better than this, right? We know that when her business model isn't implicated, she has zero problems pushing back on widely followed people. Do you remember when she asked Trump that question at the first 2016 Republican debate? When she walked over to that decision desk on election night 2012 and she called out Karl Rove's wish casting that he was disguising as modeling? Do you remember that? When she spent 4 years defying wokeness in American media and culture. And by the way, to be clear, you don't have to agree with Megyn's decision to do any or all of these things. I know a lot of people in the MAGA movement were upset about her question in 2016 to Trump. But you can't ignore the pattern here, which is that she's not afraid to call bull on people. It's a huge part of her brand, to the point that she still said just this last week that there are no sacred cows, which is what makes her decision to support Tucker and Candace and others like them with silence, despite knowing that they're so clearly lying. It's so disappointing. And how do I know that she knows that they're clearly lying?
We don't know,
This
but
is
we
simple.
know.
Because she won't actually admit to agreeing with them. She just offers increasingly absurd reasons not to push back. Let's look at the woman of no sacred cows suddenly saying she doesn't care if Tucker Carlson is an anti-Semite. She said that verbatim. She said, I don't care. I don't care if Tucker's an anti-Semite. And that going after the young mother, Candace Owens, is a bridge too far. I mean, does she not know what Candace's claims are?
I think she does.
Maybe she doesn't know. She said she doesn't watch the shows. Okay, that's fair enough. But the Megyn I know never had a problem admitting when she doesn't know something. So why not say that instead of, at this point, essentially blindly defending a woman whose statements she is not familiar with? Why call her brilliant, which she said just last month
Good point.
on her podcast with the Fifth Column? Why call Candace Owens brilliant if you don't even know what she is saying? And for that matter, why be content with this ignorance at all? Because the Megyn Kelly that I know was never content with that. She pushed back on all things, research statements. She would show people epic compilations of their quotes to them. But for a woman who was always so careful and so unbending with her research, she is miraculously incurious about the things that Candace and Tucker say on their shows. Why?
Good
How
point.
could she not know, for example, that the young mother used her maternity leave to allow for the noted crackpot Ian Carroll to take over her show and claim that Turning Point USA killed Charlie, complete with evidence-free allegations that he was shot from a concealed trapdoor? I know Ian Carroll isn't Candace, sure, but he's not a young mother. And this is a big deal. This is who Candace chose to fill in for her during maternity leave. Why hasn't Megyn denounced that? I mean, we've seen her statements that she wants to do things out of spite, to just do the opposite of whatever people call on her to do, regardless of wisdom. But I don't want to believe that. The Megyn Kelly that I know took unpopular positions because she'd actually assessed the facts. She doesn't have knee-jerk, petulant contrarianism. That's not Megyn Kelly. And this isn't about political correctness either. It's about teaching your audience to separate fact from fiction, which if Megyn really believes that we should be picking independent media personalities to follow, that should be the entirety of those people's job, right? It's not just being trustworthy, but more trustworthy than mainstream media. That's literally the whole reason independent media is supposed to exist. But now imagine for a moment that someone chose Megyn as one of their 2 news sources. If she's totally incurious about claims Charlie Kirk was shot from a non-existent trap door, what other hypotheses will she tell her audience to entertain? What other figures will she tell them to consider as potentially trustworthy? Will she applaud the genius of Andrew Tate? Will she encourage us to just ask questions about lizard people? And I say that because we're not that far from that. Those statements sound crazy, but they're not, right? There is so much evidence for the claims against Ian Carroll's claim. And Megyn's a lawyer. She knows how to pick these arguments apart. So why doesn't she? And at some point, ignorance becomes willful, and Megyn's ignorance becomes willful. And when that happens, we have a duty to ask why. Megyn Kelly is not a low IQ person. So why entertain this low IQ, resentful garbage? From Candace, it's literally all I'd expect. But from Megyn Kelly, it's hard not to see a willful abdication of her best qualities. And now look, I can't know what's in Megyn's mind. Neither can you. We can't know what she's saying, why she's saying this, why she's doing these things. But I will say it looks like she's running cover for 2 pundits with large audiences because she doesn't want to lose their audience. She doesn't want to lose the love that she has now that she didn't have before. I mean, she's always had it. I've always had it for her. But she doesn't.
That's some good point. That's a good point. Is it the audience draw? Is it because their audiences kind of commingle and you don't want to lose 12, 15, 20% of your audience base because that's what you, I don't know. That's a good point.
Don't want to lose the audience that follows Candace and follows Tucker. That might not be it. It might not be it at all. And she might not even know why. It could be subconscious, truly. But either way, it's concerning. Megyn Kelly, up until very recently, was my role model. And the thing I know for certain is the woman I remember and I looked up to would never get so high on her own supply that she'd be willing to do just anything for a social media fix. But this is bigger than Megyn herself, which is why I am making this video. My third reason this is so concerning is because this has consequences not only for people listening to Megyn, but for the right-wing movement as a whole. So we're not going to mince words. I mean, we haven't this entire time, right? But we are currently staring down the barrel of a massive power vacuum when Trump leaves office. We are already confronting it right now in a barely smaller power vacuum with Charlie Kirk gone. And the real question is who picks up the mic to lead the right going forward. And whoever picks up that mic has the chance to rival a president in terms of influence, if not also power. And part of what makes MAGA and the right so special is that it is not a movement that trusts blindly. We are not a herd of sheep following just a few voices off a cliff. Or at least we weren't. But if former voices of critical thinking like Megyn Kelly not only go silent in the face of the most cynical, exploitative, and dead-end ideas, but actually encourage her own listeners to outsource their thinking to those voices, then it may become just that. And that would be a disaster. We saw what happened when the left spent 4 years letting their bitter, low IQ peasantry write the party platform. The right should take one look at that and run far, far away. There are few people with the credibility to stop them in that course. And Megyn Kelly, for all her flaws, I'd say very recent flaws, is still very much one of them. For those of us trying to preserve MAGA as the party of common sense and of truth and of patriotism. We need her in our camp. And we don't follow her just because she's pretty. We have plenty of hot people in this movement. No, we follow her because she's pretty and smart and isn't afraid to call out nonsense. That's why Americans vote Republican at all. Because at a certain point, they got sick of hearing lies detached from reality on the left. They're sick of copium, and they want to self-improve. And Megyn can still self-improve. She can still be a voice of reason and of reality. And I hope she will be. I hope Megyn and all of the right are able to snap out of this uncritical love affair with crazy before it's too late.
Look no further than this random attack that Megyn Kelly is going through, okay, for no reason at all.
And I wanted to add this in here because you heard how what Megyn said and how Megyn positioned herself. Listen to how Candace Owens translates what Megyn did. I think that's very telling. So let's go.
And I hate to say this, but I was laughing reading Constance Kissin's tweets and what they were saying to her because I lived it. I lived what Megyn Kelly's going through. I lived what Charlie was going through, where suddenly you realize these people that are pretending to be your friends, they're like, I'm your friend, I care about you, are actually like agents. And that's why I say they're Mr. Smith from The Matrix, and they're real close to ruining your life if you don't do what they want, okay? So for no reason at all, I'll tell you how this transpired. Megyn Kelly tweeted her episode and said, listen to Charlie in his own words about what he was going through. And for whatever reason, Florida Dad, which is one of these like Zio bot accounts that constantly tweets in favor of Israel, wrote this to Megyn. We can pull this up. He writes, if you can't separate yourself from Candace Owens, many of us are going to separate ourselves from you. Like, she didn't mention anything about me. He says, we do not have to align with everyone that claims to be of the right when their motives and history are as shady as hers. Megyn Kelly and I have no attachment. So the idea that he's demanding that she make a statement against me is insane. She replies, she holds the line. She says, look at this. No, I have no obligation to, quote unquote, separate myself from anyone. I run my own media company and my own show. That show is where I express my own opinions and I will decide what and what not to opine on. If you need me to condemn Candace or Tucker for their opinions in order to listen to me, then I may not be for you. He's a close friend, and she is under enough pressure without gratuitous shots from me. My fight is with the left, not these two. Like, kudos to Megyn Kelly. Like, what? And yes, she is friends with Tucker. They've been friends for a very long time. And yeah, I'm kind of taking a lot of bullets right now, so I thank you, Megyn, for not just taking a gratuitous swipe because I'm breathing over here. But it's not enough. So then they bring the other agent, Constance Kissin, which, by the way, there's going to be a day where I just release everybody's family genealogy. His is astonishing. But these are...
Okay, and I mentioned this last night on the stream. Candace is letting you know that she's always been a leftist. I've never heard somebody on the right say, I can't wait to release your family lineage. I've never heard that before. Candace does this without any issue. And of course, many of you know that Candace at one time ran a website that docks kids, for crying out loud. And this is what she's doing. This is crazy work. Listen to her again.
Not just taking a gratuitous swipe because I'm breathing over here. But it's not enough. So then they bring the other agent, Constance Kissin, which, by the way, there's going to be a day where I just release everybody's family genealogy. His is astonishing. But these are all agents of Israel. Let's be very clear. Constance Kissin then jumps in and says, here's the problem. He's a free speech warrior, Constance Kissin. The problem with this approach, which many on the right are taking, is that this is exactly how the left allowed in its own extremists, or extremists, to first flourish and then to become the face of the entire movement. If you agree with Candace and Tucker, people will respect that. But to many of us, their behavior is so extreme and so deranged that the idea that it can be simply ignored because your fight is quote unquote with the left doesn't wash. You have always been a great, principled, truth-seeking journalist. So to many of your admirers like me, the question might be, if you agree with them, fine. But if you don't, why isn't your fight with them? This is almost verbatim. It's like scary to me because I'm like, this is like military training. Almost verbatim, a text message that I received from Marissa Streit when I like retweeted Max Blumenthal, I think once, when he said something that I totally agreed with. And then like all of the agents like
Why don't you show us, Candace? Because you're forever showing tweets and DMs and text messages. Why don't you pull that up if you actually got that message? Why can't we see it? Can we see it? Are we able to see so we can compare what that tweet to Megyn and the tweet that you got? I'm just wondering.
Dave Rubin, all of them are like, don't you see what you did? And they make you think you're going crazy, but they kind of pretend to be your friend. And you're like, what did I do wrong? Like I just said, genocide is always wrong. I just retweeted Max Blumenthal, something he said that was sensible. And they come in and they're like, I understand what you're doing. I'm your friend. But I worry that other people are going to see what you're doing and not understand. And it just, I want you to be okay. Because we're just wondering, like, we all agree that that's bad, right? So why don't you just say what I'm telling you to say, Meg, or you're going to get it. We're going to ruin your effing life. That's the subtext, Meg. That is the subtext, Megyn. I can promise you that. I lived it. There's no halfway with these people. I'm telling you, there's no halfway. She didn't do anything. She shared her episode and said, if you want to hear Charlie Kirk in his own words, here it is. That is literally what they are responding to. And now they're going to pretend to be her friend. So she responds to him and she says, the more one insists that I say what one demands me to, the more committed I get in my refusal. This was Charlie. He was like, I'm done. I'm just done.
So let me just make sure I have it right. You see a friend in gross error. And I'm not saying, some of the stuff Candace is doing is straight sinful, but let's just say you have a friend that is in error and you just don't want to, for whatever reason, you choose not to call them out. And people are saying, hey, you got to call your friend out. Hey, you got to talk to your friend about this. Talk to your friend about what he did here. And you refuse to do it. How does that make him? How does that one? And you know that what they're doing is suspect. And you can look at it and be like, yeah, that's kind of messed up. Like, how does that make you better? It makes you actually complicit. Megyn, again, I don't think Megyn has thought this thing robustly out because Candace is going to keep going. And now Megyn can cut bait and let her go and let her run. But she's going to drag Megyn in. That's what I'm saying. She's going to drag you in eventually.
Digging my heels in because they know what this is. Okay, Megyn is an adult. She's also quite brilliant. She's not going to fall for this, should I call it babble, right? Constant kissing. And you're sitting here trying to, I love you so much. She's like trying to manipulate a toddler. She's not stupid. And he says, I demand nothing of you. And in coming from a position of great respect, I'm simply asking why it is that you don't believe that lies told by prominent people on the right shouldn't be challenged in the way that we all challenge lies told by people on the left. And she said, your response proves the opposite of what it purports to. She sees right through him. Of course she does, because she's not a child, okay? This is how the agents work. They pretend to be your friend. And I'm telling you, if she doesn't buck, because that's what they want, we will whip you and you will buck. And you will buck by making a strong statement against Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson when we demand it. Then they will send the next layer, which is a full-blown press attack. The press that they do not control, by the way. They do not control the press. That's anti-Semitic. I want to be very clear. They don't control it, but they will control it when they come after her if she doesn't do what they say. Watch that space, you guys. Watch that space.
Okay, shout out. Thank you so much for that. All right, now, Melly G says that Tatum called Candace out by name. Then I will, if you can timestamp it, I'll go watch it. I got some things I got to do today. I'll watch it for sure. And look, all I'm saying, if Brandon Tatum calls her out and he's definitively saying, hey, I'm drawing the line right here. You got to stop. He's calling out his friend because he cares about his friend. You can't say you care about your friend and allow them to continue to remain doing something wrong. That you just can't convince me that you care. If your friend was doing something destructive to his or her life, and you're just like, well, I know you're grieving. I know you're under a lot of stress. You're under a lot of pressure. I'm going to allow you to keep mainlining copium every day. Do you really care about them? Do you really? Because caring about them might mean also hurting their feelings and really running the risk. And maybe you'll see like they really don't care about you. Because that might be the other end of the spectrum, and I'll end on this. That might be the other end of the discussion. I don't really want to know that you don't care about me beyond this. If I say something and you go off and flip, because if Megyn Kelly goes after Candace Owens, or Candace Owens goes after Megyn Kelly, either way, it's going to be a mess. Just like Allie Beth Stuckey. I mean, you see that. You already see that one brewing already. But if you, maybe deep down inside, Megyn doesn't want to know the fact that Candace really doesn't care about her. And she doesn't really love Megyn as much as Megyn loves Candace and Candace's feelings. Maybe that's it. Maybe that revelation might be like, man, I thought we were road dogs. I thought we was really, oh my gosh, look how quickly you turned on me. Now you're showing my text messages and you're talking about my kids and dragging me through the mud. Oh my gosh. Maybe they don't want to know that. Maybe they don't want to know how much Candace doesn't love them. So that might be it. All right, real quick, shout out. Thank you so much. See you with the $2. Get me kicking off in the morning. I know a narc friend circle when I see it. A narc. Wow, is that a real word? Narc. I know what you're trying to say. That is a wild word. A narc friend when I see it. Circle. That is exactly it. Shout out. Thank you for that. And that's a great observation. That's what it is. They're just continually feeding Candace's narcissistic tendencies and are refusing to call her spade a spade and call her out. You can call her out in love. You don't have to go online and have like every day you're doing a video about her. We say, yo, I don't mess with her no more. I don't mess with her anymore. I'm going to use Bugs because Bugs is over on X. Shout out to my people over on X. I don't think I have many people on X, so shout out. And you're the one I saw. So, I disagree with Bugs. And, I say, hey, you know what, y'all? Me and Bugs, we parted ways. I don't rock with her anymore. And that could be it. It don't have to be an all-day street battle. It don't have to turn into a street conflict every day, 3-4 times a day. It don't have to do that. It's like, hey, I don't mess with her. Anybody ask, like, no, I don't mess with her anymore. I stopped messing with her. That could be the respectful way. It don't have to be an everyday. If Bugs decides to drag me through the mud, okay, hey, that's her choice. Now she's showing me exactly the extent of her love for me. Because my friend Larry, who called me out about using foul and evil language, you know what? He's still my guy. I talked to him yesterday. He called me this weekend. We had a great time talking. He called me I talked to him yesterday because we were talking about my kids and the silly stuff they do. So we're still very good friends. And I refer back to that moment when he demonstrated and showed me that I was out of pocket. And because of that, that's where the depth of the relationship when I had to call somebody out. And I don't think these people really, truly want to know. They just don't want to know. Larry got some text messages from me. I got some text messages from Larry. And I got voicemail messages, and it will never see the light of day. My friends don't have to worry about that. But Candace's do. And I think they now realize, like, yo. Yeah, so, shout out for sure. They be eating up the 7-year-old text. Like that's something new. Like, what are we doing here, people? Show me something, as I said before, show me something from 2023. If you can show me something from 2023 that Charlie was sending you, then I have a conversation. 24, maybe we have a conversation. 25, show me something from February 2025 where Charlie was telling you about how terrible these people were. That's what I want to see. Show me Charlie text messaging you after the alleged Hampton intervention. That's what I want to see. If they can show me that, then if Candace can show that, now we got something we can talk about. But right now, in the meantime, and in between time, we have nothing to talk about because you don't have any content. You have nothing to tell us. You talking about something from 7 years ago? And people are saying that y'all were not really good friends, and you roll up in here with some text message, videos and pictures from 7 years ago, and you're like, well, see, we were really good friends. Well, where's the evidence that y'all were talking recently? That's what we want to see. Where's that? There you go. And you got to wonder why the Candies don't ask Candace to show them that. Like, why are the Candies not pushing for that? And therein is the rub. And this is a great point right here. Thank you so much, Mr. Oh, sorry about that. Mr. B5. She's so desperate for TPUSA to respond. They need to continue to ignore and prep a suit. That's it. Don't say a word to Candace until you drop that lawsuit. When she hears that knock on the door and the little process server hands her paper and say, you've been served, that's it. Do not say a word to her. Don't say a word to her. Man, shout out to Curtis right here with the $20 super blessing right here. Go give him shout out to Curtis. And the question right here is on the nose. Let me get my little sound effects. Okay, so every time I close out the sound effects, they actually move. That makes StreamYard. We got to fix that. That's crazy work. Who gets engaged in 3 weeks? Who does what she's doing? A guilty person. That's who. Shout out. Yo, Marlon over there, Too Strong. He did a great video last night, breaking apart he's asking questions. He's asking questions. Boy, when we on this side of the discussion, we need to start instituting the question asking scenario. We need to go back to old school Columbo. Thank you so much, Curtis, for that. And we need to start asking questions. Ask questions. Like, why is it that your husband, who is a multimillionaire of, whatever his dad, a lord or whatever it is in the UK, why is his best friend a gigolo? Like, I'm trying to understand that. Like, I don't understand that. Can we ask those questions? Why is it that gigolo is also suing Candace Owens' biggest op on Twitter? Yeah, Nathan Livingstone. Why is the gigolo Andrew Tate suing Nathan Livingstone for defamation? Okay. It just seems interesting. Makes you wonder. Makes you say, But shout out to Curtis. I think we need to institute a question asking. Because again, she asks questions. She says, I'm not making insinuations. I'm just asking questions. Okay, fine then. So I want to ask questions. Why is it that your very Catholic husband, his best friend, is a Muslim gigolo? Make that make sense to me. Why is it that you seem to rush to get married to a man that you had only known for 18 days? Why is it? I mean, I think we should do that. We should start a question asking campaign of Candace, like in the Candies. And by the way, I hope I didn't say it, but Candies, I think you all know that your seats are up here in the front of the church. So y'all can come up here. Y'all should already, a lot of y'all are already up here. I see a lot of y'all, but just in case I didn't tell you that. Oh, so people don't know this. Oh, I wasn't going to be here all day. Hold on. Nathan Livingstone, great content creator over on X. He is giving Candace fits on a daily basis. Hold on one second. Let me pull it up. He has been giving Candace fits. If the sun shines, he's giving fits on Candace. But he is being sued by, okay, real quick. And this is Milk Bar TV. Like, this is the GOAT. You know what I'm saying? This is our guy. Let me pull this in because I want y'all to hear. I'm going to listen to it with y'all as well. But it just seems odd to me. And maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it just seems like Nathan Livingstone is known as Candace Owens' boogeyman, right? This is Candace Owens' boogeyman. When she goes to bed at night, she's looking around like wondering, is Nathan Livingstone going to be there? Right? He is her boogeyman. He is on her bumper. Why is Andrew Tate suing him for defamation? Now, he said some things about Andrew Tate, but the lion's share of what he talks about is Candace Owens. Does that not interest anybody? Am I asking strange questions? Okay, real quick. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
Andrew Tate has now publicly claimed that I, an Australian father who makes social media videos on many topics, and others he is suing, are somehow working for British intelligence.
If you've been paying attention, you'll see I'm currently engaged in about 15 lawsuits. And all of these accounts that were constantly slandering me, insulting me, were psyops. They were getting paid by British intelligence services.
I can tell you, I don't work for the British government.
This was a setup from the highest level of MI5. It was the Brits.
The people named in this lawsuit include individuals with disabilities, survivors of abuse, and ordinary citizens.
This whole thing was a setup head to toe because they were scared I was going to overthrow an election in the UK.
What we've done is shared court documents, social media posts, Andrew Tate's own videos to bring awareness to the criminal cases. But while this claim may sound ridiculous, the lawsuit itself is very serious. Andrew Tate has openly talked about targeting critics with his lawsuits.
I don't care if it costs me $1 million to take $1,000 out of your bank. You're going to be in court twice a month for the rest of your human years. I don't care. I will sue you for any and every reason forever. And you're going to have to hire lawyers and turn up forever. I will do that. I'm that guy. I'm petty. I'm petty and I've got a lot of money and a lot of time. So it's not even about guilty. It's not about why. It's just about because I can.
Legal costs are already piling up, and we urgently need your help to fight this in court. Every contribution goes directly to securing strong legal representation so we can defend our right to speak openly and report on publicly available information without fear. Please donate at truthversustate.com.
So I'm just wondering, just noodling it, just thinking. He's Australian. Hopefully his accent isn't weird. He seems like a nice guy. It's an Australian accent. And if you're talking about Andrew Tate, I don't know about Andrew Tate's accent. Is he? I think he's Romanian. I think, but it just seems weird to me, slightly peculiar, that the man who is giving Candace Owens fits is being sued by her husband's Muslim gigolo best friend. I don't know what to do with that. That just seems quite odd to me. And maybe I'm just reading into it too much. Feel free to let me know. But y'all follow Nathan over there at Milk Bar TV, which, by the way, I have no idea what a milk bar is. But let me drop this in there for y'all. And I just dropped it in the chat. Y'all make sure y'all follow that brother. And if you feel inclined to support him, please do so, man. Help him out. Because I think it definitely goes along. It does say something. But I digress. But thank y'all so much. I think we should start asking questions. When the candies come around, we got to ask them questions. Like, where's your evidence that Charlie Kirk was in communication with Candace Owens at any time after she left Turning Point USA? Prove it to me. Prove it. What is your evidence? What is it? And just because she was on stage in 2024 doesn't mean that Charlie was involved in it. Charlie wasn't there. So show me again proof that she was in communication with Charlie Kirk after she left Turning Point. I think it'd be fun. I think it would be a blast. Is he British and American? He moved to Romania because his laws there. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't look. Yeah, I don't know. A milk bar is a corner store? Really? Okay, now I'm learning stuff. Hold on. So milk bar, kind of like a convenience store, 7-Eleven, a package store. Really? A milk bar. Corner store TV? Okay, I guess. Okay. That's interesting. Now I want to know why he named it Corner Store TV. Everybody, his dad is really, I didn't know that. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I didn't know that. Irene Britt USA, thank you so much. A milk bar is for the life of me, I've been trying to figure that out. And hold on. That was not true. Strike that. I've been thinking about it, but I've put no effort into actually looking it up. I'm like, okay, milk bar. Okay, that's different. But I never actually looked it up. So a milk bar is like a corner store. Interesting. Who says you can't teach an old podcaster new tricks? Who says that? Because it's not true. I can learn. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me. Now, I'm going to tell you tonight, this evening rather, Candace is supposed to be doing another live stream. So you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a watch party and we're going to have fun with it. We are going to be playing Candaspiracy Bingo. So please make sure you get your bingo board. The live stream is already up. The link for picking your bingo board is in the description as well. On Thursday, I have some guests coming in. We're going to be playing Candace Jeopardy. Y'all, I'm embarrassed how silly that game is. That game is going to be so ridiculously funny. So I got some guests coming in. We're going to be playing Candaspiracy Jeopardy as well on Thursday. Why? Because we're just mocking her. We don't take anything she does seriously anymore. We're just going to make fun of it. Yeah, I think she said she's going to talk about more dreams. She said that yesterday. Yep. And so I think that's going to be very interesting, but we'll see. We'll be here. So make sure y'all ready to have some fun. Please, 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 please come ready to have fun. It's crazy work. You have not. I was going over it this morning. I actually added a new column. Matter of fact, you know what? Hold on. Because y'all are here. Just because y'all are here. And don't tell nobody. If y'all tell anybody, I'm a, I don't know, put you in 0-second timeout or something. Okay, I'm gonna let y'all see the categories, only because I'm just crazy. I'm gonna let y'all see the categories. All right, so this is Candaspiracy Jeopardy. All right, so we got a category: conspiracies, deflections and diversions, public feuds, questionable evidence, personal ambitions. I'm totally making this up, and candy rot. No, I am being super petty. I'm being childish. You're right. You're 100% correct. You're right. Nope. You don't even have to. Don't even worry. I'm not going to beat those charges. I'm being petty. That is correct. So anyway, Thursday we're going to be playing Candace Jeopardy. Candy rot. Candy rot is the one I made up this morning. I made it up this morning, and it is ridiculous. I can't play music, though. If I play music, I'll get a copyright strike. I want to, though. That would be hilarious. Jay-Way, can you please play Dream On as her theme song music? I actually love that song, but she's a creep. All right. So anyway, we are going. Okay, hold on. Let me bring this in. I was about to leave, man. Y'all stop putting good questions and comments in here. She's afraid to be called a racist. Wouldn't that be the full character arc that Candace is now calling somebody a racist because they don't agree with her? Wouldn't that be the full character, like the whole 360? She started here because that's where she started. That's where she started with the whole thing with a bunch of high school kids prank calling her some really bad names, and her and her parents suing the school district. That's literally where she started. That was the first infraction. That would be amazing that she goes full circle, and now she's calling Megyn Kelly or somebody a racist because they don't rock with her. That would be probably the quintessential character arc, villain arc, if you will. That probably is a villain arc. That would be crazy work, but we'll see what happens. Everybody, tonight, 5 o'clock, I think she's going to do it. So 5 o'clock, we are going to be doing Candace Bingo. Thursday, we're doing Candaspiracy Jeopardy, and it's insane. So make sure you have your bingo boards. Have some fun. Have a great day, everybody. And we'll get at it real soon, everybody. Thank y'all so much for rocking with me. Thank you so much to the moderators who always keep the show moving in the right direction. Thank you so much for the very kind super chats as well. To Carrie, thank you so much. See you. Thank you, Curtis. You're the stream sponsor, by the way. Thank you so very much for the very kind and gracious $20 super. I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all just stopping by and making sure you tip your waiter on the way out the door. Hit that like button. Let me know that you appreciate what I did. Give me some comments. Let me know some questions that we could add to our question campaign. We're going to start asking some questions of the candies. So let me know down in the comments below. I really appreciate it. Hit the like button on the way out. Green hearts. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Witt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.